A cardiologist's confession, the day I almost lost Jack. The day Jack collapsed. It was a Saturday in July 2023, one of those perfect Virginia mornings where the air smells like fresh-cut grass and hope. I was in my clinic, sipping lukewarm coffee, when my nurse burst in, eyes wide. "Dr. Thomas, emergency in room 3, male, 65, chest pain, possible cardiac event." My heart sank. I've seen thousands of patients, but every time I hear chest pain, it's like the world slows down. I rushed in and there was Jack Harper, 6'2", silver hair, a retired firefighter with a laugh that could fill a room, lying on the exam table, pale, clutching his chest, his wife Linda gripping his hand like she could will him to stay. "Hey there, folks, it's Dr. Thomas, your friend and cardiologist, coming to you from the heart of my practice and my heart itself for our Living Fully After 50 community. If you're new to our YouTube channel, Living Fully After 50, at Living Fully After 50 Official, this is where we dive deep into stories, science, and strategies to help you thrive, not just survive, in your golden years. Today's story isn't just another health tip, it's a gut punch, a wake-up call, and a love letter to every one of you over 50 who dreams of more sunsets with the ones you love. So, grab a coffee, settle in, and let's talk about Jack Harper, a man whose heart nearly stopped, and why his story could save yours. "Doc," Jack gasped, "it's just indigestion, right? I was fine this morning, throwing the ball with my grandson." But his vitals told a different story. Blood pressure through the roof, heart rate erratic, ECG screaming trouble. As we stabilized him, I asked about his routine. Jack was a fitness buff, daily jogs, gym sessions, those trendy high-intensity workouts you see all over YouTube. "I'm keeping young," he said, forcing a grin. But as I dug deeper, I realized Jack's quest to stay young was pushing his heart to the edge. Jack's story isn't unique. I've seen it too many times in my 35 years as a cardiologist. Seniors walking into my clinic, feeling invincible, only to discover their exercise routines are betraying them. Over 50, every step you take, every rep you push, can either strengthen your heart or break it. Jack was chasing a dream we all share, to stay strong, independent, and there for our families. But as Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the first wealth is health. Jack was risking his wealth without knowing it. Today, I'm sharing his journey, his near loss, his fight, and his comeback to show you 5 exercises you must stop now and what to do instead. This isn't about scaring you, it's about giving you the tools to live fully, with a heart that keeps up with your dreams. The first warning, Jack's high-intensity obsession. Let's start where Jack's trouble began, high-intensity interval training, or HIIT. Jack was hooked. He'd seen influencers on YouTube, guys half his age, raving about 20-minute workouts that promised a younger heart. He'd sprint for 30 seconds, do burpees till he was breathless, then rest, repeat, sweat pouring, feeling like a warrior. "Dr. Thomas," he told me later, "I thought the harder I pushed, the longer I'd live." But every sprint was like a sledgehammer to his 65-year-old heart. After 50, your heart isn't the same. It's like a vintage car, beautiful, reliable, but needing gentler care. HIIT slams it with sudden, brutal demands. For Jack, those workouts were spiking his blood pressure, stressing his arteries, and triggering silent arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats he couldn't feel but were eroding his heart strength. His ECG that day showed signs of strain, and his blood pressure was 160/100, dangerously high. "I thought I was fine," he whispered, tears in his eyes. "I was just tired sometimes." The science is clear. A 2018 study in a Journal of the American Heart Association found that while supervised HIIT can help some cardiac patients, unsupervised high-intensity workouts for seniors, especially with undiagnosed conditions, increase the risk of heart events. I've seen patients like Jack fit, driven, proud, who thought sweating meant succeeding, only to end up in my ER. As Benjamin Franklin said, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." Jack needed prevention, not punishment. But here's where Jack's story gets gripping. After stabilizing him, I ran a stress test, expecting to see damage from years of HIIT. Instead, I found something shocking. His heart was resilient, but it was begging for a break. Jack wasn't too far gone, he could turn this around. I sat him down, Linda by his side, and said, "Jack, your heart's a fighter, but it's not a punching bag. Let's work with it." We swapped HIIT for 30-minute walks, where he could talk without gasping. He joined a Tai Chi class, moving like a slow river, breathing deep. "It's not sexy," he chuckled, "but I feel alive without feeling dead." If you're doing HIIT, stop now. Try walking, Tai Chi, or light swimming. They are your heart's new best friends. A flashback, the day Jack ignored the signs. Let me take you back 6 months before Jack's collapse, to a moment he later called his first warning. It was a chilly January morning, and Jack was jogging in his neighborhood, pushing through a 20-minute HIIT session. Halfway through a sprint, he felt a flutter in his chest, like a bird trapped in a cage. He stopped, dizzy, leaning on a mailbox, but brushed it off. "Just getting old," he told himself, laughing it off at dinner with Linda. That flutter was his heart's whisper, but Jack didn't listen. He kept pushing, and that choice nearly cost him everything. I share this because it's the kind of moment we all have, those fleeting signs we ignore. Maybe you've felt a twinge during a workout, a bit of dizziness, or extra fatigue. Don't dismiss it. Jack's story is a reminder. Your heart speaks softly before it screams. As Maya Angelou said, "When you know better, do better." Jack didn't know then, but you do now. The second blow, Jack's weight room battle. Jack's next mistake was in a gym, where he loved crunches and heavy dumbbell lifts. He'd do 50 sit UPS, bench press 80 pounds, and feel like a champ. "Gotta stay strong for my grandkids," he told me, his voice full of pride. But those exercises were like ticking bombs in his chest. Crunches and heavy lifts create intense pressure in your abdomen and chest, pushing upward and spiking your blood pressure. For a heart over 50, especially one with stiffer arteries or silent plaque, this can be catastrophic. Jack's chest pain that Saturday wasn't random, it was his heart straining under years of those reps. His ECG showed occasional arrhythmias, likely triggered by the pressure surges. "I was trying to be a hero," he said, shaking his head, "but I was hurting myself. Research backs this up. A 2020 BMC public health study linked heavy lifting to increased heart disease risk in older adults. Harvard Health warns crunches can strain the spine, too, doing more harm than good. I've seen patients fit, determined seniors faint mid-rep or develop chest pain after what they thought was a normal gym day. Jack was one of them, and it broke my heart to see his confusion. He wasn't lazy, he was fighting for his family, but in the wrong way. The turning point came when I showed Jack a new path. You don't need to lift the world, I said. Build strength gently. We switched to resistance bands, light, controlled movements that tone without taxing. He worked with a trainer who knew senior hearts, doing seated leg presses and slow core exercises. Within weeks, Jack was lifting his grandkids without wincing, no chest pain in sight. If you're doing crunches or heavy weights, stop. Try resistance bands or body weight moves with care. Your heart's not a bodybuilder, it's a survivor. A side story, Betty's gym scare. Let me share a quick story about Betty, a 68-year-old librarian who loved her gym's weight machines. She'd push heavy leg presses, chasing strength, until one day she felt a sharp chest pain mid-set. In my clinic, we found her blood pressure spiking during lifts, stressing her heart. Betty switched to light resistance bands and chair yoga, and a year later, she was dancing at her granddaughter's wedding, pain-free. Betty's lesson: strength isn't about weight, it's about wisdom. As Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. The weather's deadly game. Jack's third mistake wasn't what he did, but where. He loved jogging outdoors, rain or shine, heat or cold. It's just Virginia weather, he'd say, shrugging. But for a senior's heart, weather isn't just scenery, it's a battlefield. After 50, your body struggles to regulate temperature. In cold, blood vessels constrict, raising blood pressure and straining your heart. In heat, vessels dilate, your heart races to cool you, and dehydration hits fast. Jack's winter jogs were spiking his blood pressure, and his summer runs were dehydrating him, both taxing his heart. That July morning, he'd been jogging in 90-degree heat, and dehydration pushed his heart over the edge. I've seen patients collapse on hot walks or gasp in winter air. A 2019 Environmental Health Perspectives study linked extreme temperatures to cardiovascular strain in seniors. Jack's collapse was a textbook case. His heart wasn't just fighting exercise, it was fighting the elements. The fix was simple but life-changing. Jack, take it indoors, I said. He got a treadmill for his garage, walked in air-conditioned comfort, and swam at the community pool. I miss the breeze, he admitted, but I don't miss the fear. He hydrated religiously and dressed in layers for cooler days. If you're exercising in extreme weather, stop. Find a climate-controlled space, drink water like it's your job, and listen to your body. Your heart's not a weatherman, it's a warrior. The twist that changed everything. Now, here's where Jack's story takes a heart-stopping turn, a moment that still haunts me. A month after his collapse, Jack was feeling better, following my advice, walking indoors, using resistance bands. But one evening, as he reached for a glass in his kitchen, he felt a dizzy spell, stumbled, and fell hard. Linda found him on the floor, shaken but unhurt. "Dr. Thomas, He said at our next visit, "I wasn't even exercising. What's happening to me?" I ran tests and found the culprit. Years of high-impact exercises, jumping jacks, sprints, burpees had weakened his balance, not just his heart. That fall wasn't random, it was a delayed consequence of his old routine. Falls are a leading cause of injury in seniors, and Jack's fast-paced workouts had eroded his stability, setting him up for disaster. This was the twist that hit us both hard. Jack wasn't just risking his heart, he was risking his independence, his ability to live fully. As Helen Keller said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Jack's adventure was daring, but it was leading him toward nothing. That fall was his heart's loudest cry, and it changed everything. The chaos of jumping in rapid movements. This brings us to Jack's fourth mistake, jumping in rapid movements. He loved his community aerobics class, jumping jacks, quick lunges, stair sprints. "It's fun, Doc," he said. "Makes me feel like a kid." But those moves were no game for his 65-year-old body. After 50, your nervous system slows, balance falters, and arteries stiffen. Rapid movements create a storm, blood pressure swings, heart rhythms falter, oxygen delivery lags. For Jack, these exercises caused dizzy spells and increased his fall risk, as that kitchen incident proved. In 2021, the Lancet study flagged falls as a major senior health risk, often tied to high-impact exercises. Jack's aerobics were destabilizing him, physically and emotionally. The solution was a game changer. I introduced Jack to Tai Chi, a slow, flowing dance that builds strength and balance. He joined a class at the YMCA, moving like a gentle wave, no jumps, no jolts. "It's like my heart's singing," he said after a session. He added water aerobics, gliding through the pool, steady and strong. Within months, his dizzy spells vanished, and he walked with confidence. If you're doing jumping jacks or rapid moves, stop. Try Tai Chi, yoga, or gentle stretching. They are not just safe, they are your heart's poetry. Another tale, Mike's dance floor fumble. Let me share Mike's story, a 67-year-old mechanic who loved his Zumba class. He'd spin and jump, keeping up with the youngsters, until one day he tripped mid-dance, heart pounding. Tests showed arrhythmias triggered by the rapid moves. Mike switched to slow yoga and never looked back. "I still dance," he grinned, "but now it's with my heart, not against it." Mike's lesson: youth isn't in speed, it's in joy. As Oprah Winfrey said, the greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. The nighttime betrayal. Jack's final mistake was when he exercised. He'd do light cardio after dinner, a quick treadmill walk or bike ride, thinking it was harmless. "It's just 15 minutes, he said. But even that was sabotaging his heart's deepest need, sleep. After 50, sleep is sacred. Your circadian rhythms are fragile, and evening exercise, even light, can raise your heart rate and adrenaline, delaying restorative rest. Poor sleep fuels high blood pressure, inflammation, and arrhythmias, silent heart killers. Jack's late workouts were keeping him wired when he needed to wind down, and his sleep was suffering, leaving him tired and vulnerable. A 2020 sleep medicine study linked poor sleep to cardiovascular risk in seniors. For Jack, the fix was timing. Move your workouts to morning, I told him. He started walking at 8 a.m., soaking in the sunrise, and made evenings for relaxing reading, chatting with Linda. His sleep deepened, his energy soared. I didn't know my heart needed rest so bad, he said. If you're exercising late, stop. Shift to morning or early afternoon, and let your heart heal at night. The climax, Jack's near miss. Here's the moment that still gives me chills. 6 months after his fall, Jack was thriving Tai Chi, morning walks, resistance bands. But one day, he decided to test himself. He snuck in a quick HIIT session, just 10 minutes, thinking he was fixed. Halfway through a burpee, his chest tightened, his vision blurred, and he collapsed on his living room floor. Linda called 911, and by the time I saw him in the ER, he was stable but shaken. Dr. Thomas, he whispered, I thought I could handle it. That was Jack's rock bottom, but also his rebirth. Tests showed no permanent damage, but it was a stark reminder, his heart wasn't invincible. We doubled down on his new routine, and I brought in a physical therapist to fine-tune his balance. Jack learned a hard truth: living fully after 50 isn't about pushing limits, it's about respecting them. Jack's comeback, a heart reborn. Today, Jack's a different man. At 67, he's stronger, steadier, and happier. He walks every morning, does Tai Chi twice a week, and uses resistance bands like a pro. His blood pressure's normal, his arrhythmias are gone, and he's back to tossing that football with his grandson, no chest pain in sight. Dr. Thomas, he told me last month, eyes bright, I'm not just alive, I am living. I'm here for Linda, my kids, my grandkids. That's what matters. Jack's story isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. He found what we all crave after 50, the strength to live on our terms, to savor every moment, to be there for the people we love. As Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. Jack stopped playing small and started living big, with a heart that sings. Lessons from Jack's heart. Jack's journey taught me, and I hope it teaches you, these truths for living fully after 50. 1. Gentle is powerful. Ditch HIIT for walking, Tai Chi, or swimming. Your heart loves kindness, not chaos. 2. Strength, not strain. Swap crunches and heavy weights for resistance bands and slow moves. Build muscle, not stress. 3. Weather wisely. Avoid extreme temperatures. Exercise indoors, hydrate, and dress smart to shield your heart. 4. Steady over speedy. Skip jumping and rapid moves for Tai Chi or yoga. Balance is your heart's ally. 5. Sleep is sacred. Stop late night workouts. Move in the morning to boost sleep and heart health. 6. Listen to whispers, dizziness, tightness, fatigue. These are your heart's signals. Don't ignore them. 7. Live fully, wisely. Aging isn't a limit, it's a canvas. Paint it with choices that add years to your life and life to your years. Your turn, join the journey. Jack's story is yours, too. You're not just over 50, you're a fighter, a dreamer, a heart beating with purpose. Reflect on your routine. Are you pushing too hard? Ignoring signs? Today, pick one change, maybe a morning walk, a Tai Chi class, or a chat with your doctor? Share it in the comments below. Let's inspire each other on living fully after 50. If Jack's story moved you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 so I can do better. Hit that subscribe button, at Living Fully After 50 Official, share this video, and let's keep building a community that lives fully, heart first. Thank you for joining me and Jack. Here's to your heart, your dreams, and a life that shines. See you in the next video.